The treaty gift. The great council hall of the galaxy was filled with shining lights and endless voices. It was a place where the most powerful species gathered, their ships floating outside like silent giants inside the hall. Leaders and warriors waited for the announcement of peace. But peace in the galaxy was never simple. It always came with a price. In the middle of the hall stood a girl, young and fragile, dressed in silver robes that shimmered under the council lights. Her eyes were wide with fear. She did not want to be here. She did not want to be watched by 1,000 alien eyes, yet she had no choice. Her people had decided her fate. She had been chosen as a treaty gift, the crowd whispered as they looked at her. Some admired her beauty, others mocked her weakness. Her own leaders stood tall, proud of their decision. They thought giving her away would bring peace. To them, she was not a person, only a symbol, only a piece to trade for survival. The council speaker raised his hand, his voice echoing across the chamber. To seal the treaty of peace, the Empire offers this gift. A daughter of their royal bloodline, she will belong to the delegate of humanity. As proof of loyalty and trust, the word stabbed the girl's heart like cold knives. Belong. The word burned inside her. She was not a gift, she was not an object, but no one cared for her thoughts. She stood trembling, waiting for the human to step forward. All eyes turned to the human representative. He was tall, calm, and silent. Unlike the other species who shouted and boasted, he had listened carefully during all the talks. Now the moment was here. Everyone expected him to accept, after all. Who would refuse such a powerful gift? A royal prize? The alien leaders smirked. They believed humans would grab the chance. They believed humans were like them, hungry for power, ready to take whatever was offered. But the human did not move. He looked at the girl, his eyes steady, not with desire, not with greed, but with something no one in the chamber understood. His gaze carried respect. His gaze carried sorrow for her pain. The silence grew heavy. The crowd waited, some impatient, some excited. Finally, the human spoke. His voice was calm but strong. Humanity does not accept lives as gifts. She is not a treaty. She is a person. The words cut through the hall like thunder. The chamber exploded with noise. Gasps, shouts, anger, confusion. Leaders rose from their seats. Fists slammed on tables. The girl looked up in shock. Had she heard right? Did he really refuse? The council speaker frowned. Human delegate, you insult the offer. Do you dare reject a gift of peace? The human did not flinch. He stood taller, his voice firm. If peace requires chains, then it is not peace. If you demand I claim her, then this treaty is a lie. Humanity will not take her. Anger boiled among the rival empires. Their voices shook the walls. Some called the human arrogant. Some accused him of disrespect. Others whispered in secret tones, worried that this refusal meant more than pride. The girl could hardly breathe. For the first time, someone had spoken for her. Not her parents, not her leaders, but a stranger from another world. A human inside her heart. A spark of hope lit up. Small but real. But hope was dangerous in the council hall. She saw the rage in the eyes of her captors. They had not expected refusal. They had not expected humanity to challenge their tradition. The council speaker tried again. Delegate of humanity, think carefully. If you refuse, you risk the treaty. You risk the anger of empires. The human's reply was simple, almost quiet. But his words echoed louder than any roar. Humanity will risk much, but we will never accept a life as property. The girl's hands shook, her breath quickened. She realized she was standing at the center of something greater than herself, something that could change her future, something that could change the galaxy. And in that silent moment, before the next storm of voices erupted, one truth became clear. Humanity was different. Humanity valued something the galaxy had forgotten. Dignity. As the council erupted once more, hidden eyes in the shadows watched. Not everyone was angered. Some were afraid, some were intrigued, and some began to plot. The refusal of one human had shaken the walls of the council, and in the middle of it stood the girl. No longer just a gift, but the symbol of a storm yet to come. The refusal's echo, the council chamber, did not calm after the human's words. Instead, it roared like a storm. Leaders shouted, guards raised their weapons, and whispers spread like fire through dry grass. The refusal was not just an insult. It was a challenge to everything the galaxy believed in. Far above the chamber, on high balconies where spies and messengers gathered, reports were already being sent to every corner of the stars. The humans refused the message carried. They insulted the treaty gift. And in those few words, the galaxy trembled. The girl stood frozen, still on the platform where she had been displayed. Her heart racing, she was no longer a silent prize. She was now the center of a storm. Eyes from every empire burned into her, some with pity, some with hatred, some with fear. The human delegate did not move. His calm stood against the chaos like a mountain against waves. He did not shout back. He did not flinch. His stillness itself was power. The Speaker of the Council raised his staff, trying to control the hall. "Silence, order!" his voice thundered. But the hall would not quiet, not this time, not after what had been spoken. Finally, the human's words returned to every mind. "She is not a treaty, she is a person." The simplicity of it cut deep. Some leaders mocked it, others were shaken by it, but none could ignore it. Whispers began among the weaker races. Small species long used as pawns and slaves, they repeated the words, tasting them as if new. "She is not a treaty, she is a person." And in those whispers, seeds of rebellion were planted. But power hates seeds, and the powerful were furious. The alien empire who had offered the girl as a gift were humiliated. Their leader's face burned with rage. "You shame us, human," he spat. "You dishonor our blood." His eyes turned cold as he looked at the girl. She felt his hatred like claws. She knew then that her life was in greater danger than before. If the human had accepted her, at least she would have been taken away. Now she was a symbol of humiliation, and symbols are dangerous. The human delegate seemed to know this too. His eyes flicked toward the guards shifting near her. His voice carried again. "Touch her and humanity will answer." The chamber fell into uneasy silence. The threat was not shouted, but it was clear, sharp as steel. Far in the shadows, hidden eyes watched. Secret factions who thrived on chaos, they saw opportunity. The refusal had cracked the council's mask of unity. Now they could strike. Plans began to form. Assassins whispered of targets, and the girl was at the center of them all. The girl's hands trembled as she stepped down from the platform, unsure if she should run, hide, or stand still. She felt the weight of destiny pressing on her shoulders. She never asked for this, but she was caught in it. As she neared the human delegate, he bent slightly, his voice quiet enough only for her to hear. "You are safe." "As long as I stand." His words warmed her like fire in the cold. But she also feared for him, because she saw the enemies gathering in every corner, their eyes sharp, their smiles cruel. Beyond the council walls, ships moved, fleets prepared, and whispers of war stirred again. All because of one refusal. All because humanity had said no. The girl felt it. The galaxy had shifted. Alliances would break, battles would rise. And yet she also felt something else. For the first time, hope. But hope would not come easy, because in the next moment, as the council finally dismissed the meeting in chaos, she caught the eyes of an assassin. Hidden among the crowd, his gaze locked on her. His lips curled in a silent promise of death, and she realized the refusal was only the beginning. The true danger was now hunting them both. The hidden plot, the council hall, had broken apart in chaos. Leaders stormed out, guards argued in every language, and ships left the station with anger in their engines. But while the powerful shouted in the open, darker moves were already beginning in secret. In the shadows beneath the grand chamber, a circle of assassins gathered, their faces hidden by masks, their voices low and sharp. They were hired blades, loyal not to honor but to coin. And tonight their coin was heavy. "Remove the girl," one voice said. "Erase the human who protects her." Their defiance must end before it spreads. Their knives gleamed under the dim light, and their orders were clear: no witnesses, no mercy. The girl did not know all of this, but she felt it. She felt the eyes watching her as she followed the human delegate through the side corridors of the station. Every step echoed with fear. Every corner seemed to hide danger. The human walked ahead, his pace calm, yet his hand never left the weapon at his side. He had seen assassins before. He knew how the powerful dealt with humiliation, and he knew the girl's life was now worth less than dust to her own people. In one narrow passage, he suddenly stopped. His hand lifting, silent, the girl froze behind him. Her breath caught. She saw his eyes narrow, searching the shadows. Then it came. A faint shift in the air, a sound too soft for her ears but not for his. And in the next moment, a blade shot out from the dark. With reflexes faster than any alien expected, the human caught the assassin's wrist mid-strike, twisting it until the blade clattered on the floor. The girl gasped. 3 more assassins stepped out, their weapons glowing with poison light. The human's voice was steady. "Go back," he whispered to the girl, but she could not move. Fear held her still. The assassins attacked at once, their strikes swift and deadly, but the human moved like water. His body a shield and a weapon, he struck with precision, every move meant to protect, not just to kill. The girl watched in terror and awe. The man who had refused her as property now fought like a storm to keep her alive. But more shadows moved. More assassins poured into the passage. Too many, the human could not hold them all. Then something strange happened. A small figure appeared in the chaos. Not human, not from her people, but from a weaker race. One of the small species often ignored by the council. He threw a flash of light into the assassins, shouting, "For freedom!" The human seized the chance, pulling the girl through another corridor. The echo of blades and shouts behind them. The girl stumbled as they ran, her heart hammering. "Why do they want me dead?" she cried. The human's reply was harsh. "Because you are no longer their gift, you are their shame. And shame is always hunted." The words cut her deeper than any blade. But they were true. She understood it now. She was a target, and only the human's refusal had given her the chance to live even this long. They stopped in a hidden chamber, doors sealed behind them. The girl leaned against the wall, shaking. The human scanned the room, checking every corner, every shadow, his eyes sharp. Then he pulled a small device from his coat. Flicking it open, the screen lit with coded messages. The girl peeked and her blood turned cold. It was not just assassins, it was a larger plan. The treaty was never real peace, it was bait, a trap designed to weaken humanity, to bind them under false promises while hidden blades struck. The girl's voice shook. "They will start a war." The human nodded, his jaw tight. "Yes, and you are the proof they wanted hidden. That is why they will not stop until you are gone." The weight of it fell heavy. She realized her life was no longer her own. She was tied to something greater, a war that could consume the galaxy. And as the shadows shifted outside the chamber door, the girl knew this night was only the beginning. The assassins had not failed yet. They would come again, stronger, and the human would have to fight again. But deep inside her, a fire began to grow. For the first time in her life, she wanted to fight too. The fight for dignity. The chamber door shook under heavy strikes. The assassins were not giving up. Their blades scraped against the metal. Sparks flying, the girl pressed herself back, fear clutching her chest, but the human stood steady, weapon in hand, eyes locked on the door. "They will break through," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Then we hold until we cannot," the human answered, calm as stone. Before the door could fall, a hidden panel slid open on the far wall. A figure stepped in. It was the small alien who had helped earlier. His eyes glowing with courage. Behind him, more of his kind entered. Frail bodies, but each held makeshift weapons. "We will fight with you," the small alien said, his voice quiet but strong. "For too long. We have been gifts and slaves. Tonight we choose to stand." The girl's eyes widened. She had never seen them resist before. But now she saw the fire in their eyes. The human gave a single nod. No words wasted, allies were allies, no matter how small. The door finally crashed open, assassins pouring in like shadows given flesh, their blades gleaming. The air thick with poison smoke. Battle erupted. The human moved first, his strikes precise, every swing and block protecting the girl. But now the small aliens joined too, their courage louder than their weakness. They swarmed the assassins, shouting their defiance. The girl ducked behind a pillar, but she could not stay hidden. Her blood boiled as she watched others fight for her, for dignity, for freedom. Something inside her broke free. She grabbed a fallen weapon, her hands shaking but her heart steady, and when an assassin lunged at her, she raised the blade, striking not with skill but with raw will. The assassin staggered back, shocked. The human saw it, and for the first time his eyes softened. He gave her a small nod of respect, not as a gift, not as a burden, but as someone standing beside him. The fight raged on, walls burned. Smoke filled the chamber. More allies appeared from the shadows, species long silenced, each one joining, each one shouting. "No more gifts, no more chains," the assassins faltered, their unity cracking. They had not expected this. They had come for an easy kill. Not for a rebellion born in one night, but the girl knew it was not over. She saw a figure at the back, taller than the rest, cloaked in black, his eyes glowing like fire. He was the master assassin, the true blade sent to end her. He stepped forward. Every other fighter froze, his presence colder than space, his weapon longer, sharper, dripping with poison. The girl's breath caught. The human moved in front of her at once, his stance solid. "Stay behind me," he said. The master assassin's voice was a hiss. "You should have taken her, human. She was meant to die quietly. Now you both will burn." The clash came like thunder, human steel against alien poison. Sparks flying, every strike heavier, faster. The ground shook with each blow. The girl could only watch, her heart racing. Every moment balanced between life and death all around. The council guards, who had once ignored the fight, now pushed through, drawn by the chaos. They saw the truth. They saw the assassins striking not for honor but for silence. Whispers spread. The treaty is a trap. The girl was never a gift, she was bait. The battle turned. The assassins began to fall back. But the master assassin would not stop. His rage burned, his strikes wild yet deadly. At the last moment, when the assassin lunged for the girl, the human caught the blade with his bare hand, blood spilling, but he twisted with sheer will. Breaking the weapon in two, his other hand struck hard, sending the assassin crashing against the wall, unmoving. The chamber fell silent, smoke rising, bodies scattered, but the girl still stood, alive, protected, and in that silence, something greater was born. The voices of the weak rose together. "No more gifts, no more chains," they shouted. Their cry, echoing through the halls, carried far beyond. The girl looked at the human, tears in her eyes. "You could have let me die, but you risked everything," he answered simply. "Dignity is worth more than treaties." But even as the victory felt real, the girl noticed the flicker of movement. Coded signals flashing through the council's hidden channels. The battle was not the end. It was only the spark, and beyond these walls, fleets were already preparing. The human answer, the chamber still smoked from battle. The broken bodies of assassins lay across the floor, but even in victory the air was heavy, because everyone knew this was only the beginning. The girl stood beside the human, her hand still shaking from the blade she had lifted, her heart pounding with both fear and pride. She was no longer silent, no longer a gift. She had fought, and now she was free, but freedom came at a price. Outside the council walls, fleets stirred, massive warships powering up, their engines burning bright in the void. The Empire, who had offered her as a gift, now demanded blood. "Erase the insult, destroy humanity!" their commanders shouted, their voices echoing through every channel. The girl's stomach sank. She saw the trap revealed. The treaty had never been peace. It had always been a chain. And now that chain had broken. The galaxy was sliding toward war. The human delegate stood tall at the center of the hall, bleeding from his hand, his face calm, his eyes steady. He raised his communicator, and for the first time since the refusal, his voice carried across the stars. "This is humanity," he said. "We do not accept slaves. We do not accept gifts. We do not accept chains. If war comes, we will answer, and our answer will be heard across the galaxy." His words thundered through every channel. Small races who had whispered now stood in awe, their hearts stirred, their courage born, and then the galaxy saw it beyond the station. Hidden until now, humanity's fleets emerged one by one, massive ships sliding out of the void, their hulls black and sharp, their weapons glowing with quiet power. Hundreds, then thousands lined the stars, their formation perfect, their silence louder than any roar. The alien empires froze, their fleets pausing mid-charge, because they realized humanity had been ready. Humanity had not come weak. Humanity had come prepared. The girl's eyes widened. She had never seen such strength, but what shook her most was not the weapons, it was the unity. Each ship held steady, each captain silent, all waiting for one command. The human delegate lowered his communicator, his gaze sweeping across the hall. "Choose now," he said. "Peace without chains, or war without mercy." The council fell silent. Leaders looked at each other, some pale with fear, some furious, some calculating, but none could ignore what they had seen. The girl stepped forward, her voice clear for the first time. "I was never a gift. I was never yours to give. I am free, and I stand with those who refuse to claim me." Her words lit the hall like fire. Smaller species cheered, their voices rising. Freedom, dignity, no more chains. The Empire who had offered her clenched their teeth, their pride wounded, but even they hesitated, their fleets trembling at the sight of humanity's wall of steel. The tension cut the galaxy in half. One breath could spark war, one word could end peace, and then slowly, the council speaker lowered his staff, his voice shaking. "The treaty is broken, but a new one must be written. One without gifts, one without chains," the hall exhaled. Relief and fear tangled together, but the girl knew the truth. This was not the end, it was the beginning. Humanity's refusal had changed everything. The galaxy would never be the same. As she looked at the human beside her, his hand still bleeding, his eyes still calm, she whispered, "You gave me more than freedom. You gave me dignity," he answered softly. "And dignity is the first step to peace." Beyond the station, the fleets of humanity glowed like stars. Silent guardians, their presence a promise, a warning and a hope, and in that moment, as the galaxy watched, one truth was sealed forever. They had tried to give her away, but the humans' refusal had shaken the stars, and the human answer had changed the fate of all.